by now, I'm sure you've heard of my death.
This man committed suicide hours after recording this video. His name was Don Hoffman. In the video, Hoffman said he was diagnosed with cancer by 3 different doctors. But an autopsy revealed he didn't have cancer and no one was able to identify the doctors. So, why did he take his own life? Well, it seems he became another victim of this woman, Terri Hoffman, his wife. She was born in 1938 and after a failed marriage and some psychiatric problems, she founded a new religious movement called Conscious Development in 1974. She claimed herself as the reincarnation of a Spaniard saint and the only hope of humanity against the evil spirits known as the Black Lords. Her teachings were a mix of Eastern spirituality and Catholicism. Her followers had to endure the battle against the Black Lords and welcome death as another stage in their spiritual evolution. Her husband at the time, Glenn Cooley, wanted to divorce her but died of a Valium overdose in 1977. According to his will, Terri was the sole beneficiary. Years later she confessed to a follower that she had visited Cooley hours before his death and that he was determined to ascend to the next level. Did she murder him and make it look like a suicide? Authorities didn't find any evidence to prove it. It was a situation that repeated itself in the following years. In 1979, Terri's secretary Sandra Clever went on vacation with her daughter Susan, and while the two were rafting, Susan drowned. Her $125,000 trust fund was going to be transferred to Terri's account, but the transaction was stopped by the authorities due to Susan being a minor. Then Sandra took a $300,000 life insurance policy with Terri as the sole beneficiary. In 1981, Sandra took her own life driving her car straight off a mountain. Sandra's brother contested the will, and although the case was settled, Terri's cult suffered from bad publicity. 3 of the 4 witnesses against Terri committed suicide in the following months. In 1985, Robin Otstadt, one of Terri's followers, told her husband she had terminal hepatitis. The husband persuaded her of doing a blood test. After a visit from Terri, Robin shot herself with a revolver. The blood tests showed no sign of disease. In 1987, Mary Levison, another follower, died from a drug overdose, leaving Terri as the sole beneficiary of her life insurance policy. Then her 3rd husband, Don Hoffman, the man in the video, died of a drug overdose. Don's children filed a suit against Terri in 1989. 4 days later, Jill Bounds was beaten to death. The killer had browsed through her diary and ripped out some of the pages. Bounds left the Conscious Development cult years before, but police couldn't find any evidence of a connection. In 1989, longtime followers David and Glenda Goodman shot each other in what the police called a ritualistic murder-suicide. They will establish Terri as their sole beneficiary. It was clear that Terri Hoffman was at the center of this circle of deaths. But how could she? It seems the followers were subjected to months of exhausting exercises with the pretense of being ready to fight the Black Lords at any moment. These exercises put the subjects in a state of anxiety and desperation. Then, when the subjects were exhausted and with their will undermined, Terri offered them relief in the form of a wonderful afterlife. She didn't have to kill her followers, she convinced them to kill themselves. This fact made her untouchable to the authorities. As the district attorney stated once, mind control is not a contributing factor to death, according to law. Terri Hoffman spent a year in prison for fraud but never faced consequences for the multiple deaths she contributed to. Terri Hoffman died at age 77 in Dallas, Texas.